In Greek mythology, Kronos is the leader of the Titans. Titans were the guys that came before the gods everyone knows, born from Gaia and Uranus, the deities of the earth and the sky. Kronos came into power when Uranus threw some of Gaia's other children in Tartarus. Tartarus is like Greek turbo hell, so Gaia asked the Titans if they could, kill their dad. Kronos was like, yeah sure, dad sucks, I'll do it, so Gaia gave him a stone sickle and he cut Uranus's dick off.
And the sack! And the ball!
Incidentally, when he chucked his nuts into the sea, they made a white foam and Aphrodite emerged. So that famous painting of the birth of Venus is complete bullshit. She should be hatching out of a massive, soggy nutsack. Yeah, just give it to me. Yeah, leave it over there. Thank you. Because this didn't sound enough like a Game of Thrones plotline, Kronos marries his sister Rhea and they make babies. Zeus is the Joffrey of Greek mythology, and I can't be convinced otherwise. Anyway, it's prophesied that Kronos will be overthrown by his children, so as soon as they're born, he eats them. It's unknown whether or not he'd read online that there may be benefits to eating the placenta, and he got real confused. Naturally, Rhea isn't fond of this practice and gives birth to Zeus secretly, giving Kronos a stone to eat instead.
A stone! A stone! A stone!
This part of the story always gets wild because depending on the version, he's either raised by a goat and an army of dancing soldiers in full armor party all day every day to cover up Zeus's crying, or he's raised by a nymph who dangles him from a tree by his foot for reasons. Something about him not being on any of the earth, sea, or sky, all of which Cronus had domain over. I just love that the two options to explain how Cronus didn't notice Zeus growing up are soldier rave or baby trapeze artistry. Once he grows up, Zeus gives Cronus a thingy that makes him throw up all the other kids. Guess we know that Cronus swallows and spits. Yeah, I've got it, thank you. Zeus then frees all the other kids from Tartarus, and together they have a huge war called the Titanomachy, which is one of the best words ever worded. The gods win and banish most of the Titans to Tartarus, including Cronus, and in Tartarus he remained, although some accounts have Zeus letting him out or letting him run Elysium, which is basically heaven unless you're talking about that film where Jodie Foster does a weird accent. Thanks to his castrati tendencies and big abusive dad energy, Cronus is often depicted as an older man wielding a stone scythe, and in Renaissance time he started to be depicted as a freaky troglodyte chewing on babies. Also, that image of Cronus with a scythe eventually led to him being identified as a god of the harvest, alongside Demeter and Persephone. But here's the annoying bit. Also in Greek mythology, Kronos is the personification of time. Not Kronos, Kronos. This is not only confusing, but very fucking annoying. Like, were there just less names back then, so they had to bodge it with homophones? Anyway, this backstory is a lot quicker, given that Kronos is more of a name given to a cosmic element than a dude. Kronos was born organically from the earth and water itself, then he created the cosmos, the void, and an egg.
It's an egg.
Out of which hatched the creator of the rest of the universe. Despite his egg-laying habits, this version wasn't depicted as a huge universe-shitting bird.
Do not cry!
Instead, given the similarity of his and Cronus' names, people often conflated the two, and they turned out to have crazy synergy, the kind that would make a marketing exec explode with jizz. For instance, Cronus' scythe became a symbol of Kronos harvesting time. Eventually, it just didn't matter that much if they were unique beings. People are complex and multifaceted. Who says you can't be the god of time and daddy issues? Making sure the clocks go tick could be his job. Everybody needs a hobby, and this scythe-wielding old man's is slicing dicks off. So, given all of that, why is Kronos always depicted in the modern day as a big lava rock monster? I know you've noticed it, but I'm going to prove it anyway. For me, this all starts with Wrath of the Titans in 2012. God, do you remember the 1 year period where Sam Worthington ruled the world with some terrible fucking movies? I've seen the behind the scenes for all three of these, and he was committed to the roles. We were honestly blessed to have such a dedicated guy in Hollywood. I'm saying that like he's dead. He's not dead, is he? Oh yeah, he was an Avatar too. Okay, so in Wrath of the Titans, everyone stopped praying to the gods, they're starting to die. And the god of war, not you, we'll get to you later, Ares, makes a deal with Hades to beat Zeus and give his power to Kronos so he can rise from Tartarus. You'll notice that we've started spelling it Kronos now. That's because it looks cooler. Sometimes that's all the justification you need. In fairness, they do pay homage to the daddy issues inherent to the character, with Perseus and Ares fighting and Zeus and Hades reconciling, all because of their bad daddies. They successfully bring Kronos back, and he farts out of a massive volcano as a giant lava monster. All jokes aside, I really dig this bit where he flings lava at Perseus and it cools into rock in midair. That's the one note of praise I have for Wrath of the Titans. Also, Bill Nighy is Hephaestus. But anyway, it's a travesty that Kronos is like this. He's a guy with a curvy sword who maybe controls time. Maybe make him a Sandman or something as a reference to hourglasses. There's just nothing to suggest he should be a mute volcano man. 1 year later, there's Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters, and once again, they got the daddy issues down pat. This time it's fuckboy Luke who wants to kill the gods because his dad Nathan Fillion abandoned him so he could run UPS, and I wish I was joking here. So of course, he decides to summon Greek Lucifer himself to get it done. Points also have to go to Percy Jackson for continuing the whole eating progeny thing. Like, he must have been pretty hungry in that box and wanted to snack on a couple of lads. Nom nom nom. I was in a weird mood when I wrote this. But most importantly, he's a volcanic rock monster, which he shouldn't be. He should be a Time Lord or a guy with a big scythe. Or both. Imagine the finale of Percy Jackson 2, but it's a massive David Tennant with a necklace of severed dicks coming at you like the Grim Reaper, and I fucking dare you to tell me that that's not more terrifying than this thing. Funnily enough, the same visual effects company made both of these versions of Kronos, so well done them for being complicit in this fuckery. It's not even localized to movies. Video games are rife with it as well. Take 2002's Age of Mythology and its expansion, The Titans. The plot of both campaigns revolve around various baddies trying to, you guessed it, release Kronos from Tartarus. I don't know why they keep doing this. I guess they just weren't supervised as children and drank pink too many times, who knows. Whenever Kronos gets a chance to come out in the game, he's a massive lizard-looking guy covered in plates and a demonic face, and on the artwork for his icon, he's a big rock guy filled with lava like the worst cannoli imaginable. He does have one thing at least, which is that time is the theme of his god powers. Then there's God of War 3 and his big fight with Kronos. We're on to Kronos now, just go with it. Kratos wants the stone that Rhea made Kronos swallow instead of Zeus, huh? You remember that? Were you paying attention? That intro was all relevant, motherfucker. Kratos needs that stone, so he's got to get inside Kronos. And rather than asking him out for a nice dinner and laying on some moves so we can get the stone through Kronos' massive butthole, he hacks his fingernail to death. Once again, the one thing the creators decided to keep was his tendency to eat small people, and he noshes down on Kratos. But more importantly, Kronos is a goddamn dickless, Michael Chickless looking motherfucker, a giant rock monster in the middle of a volcano. Why?
Why? But I ask again, why?
It's obvious why we do this, of course, a combo of Judeo-Christian imagery and our impressions of primordial Earth. See, if you were thinking of some ancient being that represents Earth in its infancy, a safe bet would be to go with some kind of massive volcano being, all fire and blind fury, like an angry, sentient Earth pimple. Add to that hundreds of years of depictions of hell as a burning wasteland, with rivers of fire and toasty goat boys poking people with forks like a nightmarish luau. Combine those images in people's minds, and when you think of an evil deity trying to kill God, you picture Volcano Satan. But changes like this are consistent with the oral tradition of Greek mythology. Stories would be told and retold over and over, altering and embellishing, changing over time to suit different purposes. I'm not opposed to a design change in general, it's just, really? A lava monster was all you could come up with? I refer you back to the scythe-wielding David Tennant with the dick necklace. The dickless. All I'm saying is, maybe the first image in your mind isn't the most faithful image or the most interesting image. Maybe shooting straight for the common denominator and familiar coding stunts the imagination. There are some that got halfway there. Smite has a version of Kronos, that's Kronos, not Cronus, who goes whole hog on the god of time aspect, to the exclusion of his big bearded baby-eating aspect. You get pretty much the same interpretation and spelling in the mobile game Gods of Rome. Supernatural also does a version of Kronos where he controls time, but he's literally just a guy. No scythe or nothing. Doesn't even eat babies. Even my girlfriend eats babies. That's a cum joke. You can't even say that a faithful interpretation of Kronos wouldn't work, because it has actually been done. The DLC for Immortals Phoenix Rising features an encounter with Kronos that's pretty darn perfect. He's a massive bearded dude wielding a scythe, and what's the first thing he does? He eats his kid. It's amazing. So many parts of this video can be taken out of context. Marvel Comics has a version of Kronos, that's Cronus, not Kronos, keep up, that's essentially the same as his mythological counterpart. But honestly, are you surprised? There was a certain point in Marvel and DC that I can't be bothered to look up where they just went, fuck it, half of our characters are literally people from Greek, Egyptian, and Norse mythology, and I guess that's kind of where we are in the MCU. And lastly, Hades 2 is going to have a version of Kronos as an antagonist. We're back to Kronos now. Why? Because fuck you, that's why. This one is also pretty darn accurate, with a greater emphasis on the time aspect than anything else. But to top it off, he even makes a reference to eating family members. Beautiful. Basically, what I'm saying is, a time demon is way more intimidating than a volcano demon. Look at those weird ticking cat things from Legion, or Sacha Baron Cohen in Alice in Wonderland. Terrifying. Anyway, like and subscribe or Michael Chiklis is gonna fucking come and get you!